Python often runs slower than it should, and the frustrating part most of the time it's not your computer. It's one small habit in your code that you haven't picked up quite yet. Just a few minor changes could make your script feel like a completely different program. 2 times, 5 times, sometimes even 10 times faster. I have videos dropping all the time. Be sure to subscribe. Welcome back, guys, for another episode of Code with Josh. For obvious reasons, I'm Josh, and I'm stoked to have you here. Today is all about practical performance. No theory, we're just doing live code with some quick benchmarks. I'll cover comprehensions, generators, itertools, profiling with cProfile, decks, a bunch of other stuff to optimize your Python code. And one of these looks like it should be slower, but it's actually the one that saves you from running out of memory. By the end, you'll know what to spot, what to actually look for, and what's actually slowing your code down. Real quick, guys, the links in the description are dedicated to you and helping you get where you want to get in Python. I recently just launched my Python mentorship program, which is the link in the description below. Head on down, check it out. All the other links down there range from my Python masterclass, newsletter, all my ebooks, and so much more. You don't need to do any of this alone. Head on down, check those links out. They're in the description. Now let's get into it. All right, now I'm in VS Code. I love VS Code, but use whatever editor you want. Here's how this will work. For every tip, I'll show you the slower before example, and then we'll switch to the improved version and then talk about benchmarks or if there is any speed performance. A before, after benchmark, and what you can take away from this. All right, guys, we're gonna start it off here with something rather simple. Here we just have a for loop. I am looping through 100,000 times. We're just appending the even squared number into this. Now, really, yes, this works again, but since we're starting off simple here, the more optimized way to do this that's going to improve the performance of your code is a list comprehension, where we drop in the element and what the value of the element is going to be. We initialize and nest our loop actually inside of this. This is going to run a lot faster here. Okay, and not even a lot faster. It's more readable. It will run a little bit faster, okay? But really, as you start to progress, doing something like this is going to be much more highly optimized, okay? In benchmarks, this loop is going to take around less than 1/10 of a second versus other runs. It depends on how many times you are going to run this, okay? But you can try and do a speed comparison. The first one here, though, is your list comprehensions. I can condense and push all these 4 lines into one line of code. Python can read that a lot faster. It's more readable for us. It saves us space in our script. Now, moving on to our next tip, okay? We just talked about list comprehensions, but really, we also have using generators. Generators are more memory efficient. There's no full list being created. It's yielding us back data as we need it without having to store it in Python. I'm just getting the sum of this whole list. Now, really, a generator is when we use parentheses more or less. There's other ways to do it, but a more optimized way is taking sum. There's no need for a list here, okay? This is just a generator expression. In one line, I can square that and I can say for I in range, and then we're just going to do that. How many times do I have here? 1,000,000 times, okay? This is going to be huge here because a list in this case is, if I'm ballparking this here, it's probably going to be about, 800 kilobytes of memory, which might not feel like a lot. I get it. But when you condense this down to a generator, we're not having to store that data. It's more likely going to be around 200 kilobytes of memory. And this is going to run significantly faster on our system because, again, we're not saving that data like we do a list. So using generators here, generators is huge. Okay, use it when you can if you don't need to store the data. Now, Python has a lot of really cool built-in modules, which I love, okay? For example, itertools is for working with iterables. Now, here I just looped through a range twice, okay? And we're trying to generate a list by pushing them, merging them together. This is going to create a temporary list out of that. It is less efficient, right? When we use itertools, it's going to iterate without extra memory overhead. So how this would be done is I could then just create my list of combined users here. I'm going to use or create a list and I want to chain together. What do I want to chain together? I'm just going to say user group 1 and user group 2. Okay, so utilizing these built-in Python modules is a great way that often gets overlooked, right? This is going to run faster for every run we do, and it's not going to be as less efficient as the first one. Okay, we're just utilizing what Python already has, but this gets skipped so much. Now, itertools has a bunch of other functions that are going to help you out too. I'm just trying to pick out a use case here of oftentimes we try and merge lists by doing this. There is a better way to do this. Now, on to our fourth tip. This is a cool one. This is cProfile. Okay, now before we run without profiling, there's no visibility into the slowdowns. So here I just have a simple function. I give it data. We're looping through our data. We're just adding the counter and squaring the number every time we're going into that. Okay. When I call the function's going to run 10,000 times. That's the data it's going through. Well, the function's not going to run, but our loop is going to run that, excuse me. And we are just returning the total value. Now, after what we can do is we can actually wrap this with cProfile, okay? And this is going to help us to analyze the performance. And this is going to return that data. But a basic run of this is going to be a lot faster. Profiling adds overhead, yes, but it also reveals optimizations in your code. So if I take this now, I'm going to keep the same function. And the only thing I'm really changing here is going to be this. And I'm in fact going to keep this. Okay, I'm not going to change this. What cProfile does is it allows you to see the optimizations in your code. So I'm going to create here a profiler, and we're going to say here cProfile, and we're going to use the profile function. Let's just, because seeing that I don't actually have it here, cProfile, there we go. Okay. I created my profiler. I'm going to take my profiler. I want to enable it, right? This is going to help us watch that. We're still going to do the same thing here. It's just executing this code. It's kind of like you're timing it in a way without using the time module. We're profiling and seeing how optimized that code is. When we're done, we can disable this, and then you are just going to print off your stats by saying print stats. Right. So this is a different way to time our code, but really profile is used to check how optimized your code is. I didn't change the function at all. I kept everything the same. That's not what this is doing. This is just allowing you to see, is your code, could it be improved? Right. That's really the question here. Okay, so look into cProfile if you're looking at ways to speed up your code while still staying in Python. Now, going down here, we have lists, right? But we have other types of data structures in Pythons, decks, stacks, queues, you name it. Well, queue and a deck is actually the same. I was just trying to ramble off there. But really, again, this is a more efficient way to do this because before, when we use a list as a queue, we are just popping items off. We're removing the oldest item. That's a queue. If you go wait in line at the grocery store, the people in line are served in the order that they are lined up. Okay. Yes, this works. Okay. But again, just by specifying to Python that, hey, I'm going to use a queue, I'm going to use a deck, this is going to change everything. It's going to change our speed. I'm going to say message queue instead of saying list. I'm going to create a deck. Python knows what's coming now. I'm going to range this 10,000 times. Now, the same thing is going to apply here. Okay, I'm just going to copy. I'm going to paste this, right? Yeah, we add a new message. I get it. We append the message. The only difference, I'm not using pop now. I can just use what's called pop left. Okay, that comes with deck. This is going to optimize your code, right? This list in this case, I don't know how fast it's going to run. And it's still going to run fast. It's 10,000 times, right? These tweaks that I'm showing you on a smaller scale, you're not going to notice much. That's true. But if you start working with massive, massive data sets and big data or something, you have millions of rows of data, you are going to notice a difference, especially when your applications depend on it. Okay, so use a queue, which is basically a deck in this case, uh, or the right data structure for what you need. Okay, Python has this stuff built in, so use it. Okay, going on to tip number 6 here. Okay, we are using the function tools the module, excuse me, partial. Okay, so when we do this now, we're using a global variable. Okay, but this just takes up space. Okay, This could be triggered. This could cause errors later. Depends on how big your program is. Okay. Now, if we use partial, this is clean. There's no need for global variables here. What is global even doing? Well, I mean, look, in this super basic example, global is just a counter variable. I am adding x to my counter variable, and I'm just returning the sum of that. So it's not doing a whole lot. In our list comprehension here, right, I call this function now. Now it's doing it 10,000 times. Okay, so now this is slightly different. What if we optimize this? So optimize with partial, I can achieve the same thing. I'm going to say here, let's just say add 5 is equal to partial is a function. It is going to return what we pass it. I'm going to pass in a function. I'm passing in the function I built, and we are giving it a number, right? In this case, 5, right? That's my global offset, 5. Okay, we're being used here. Now I'm going to say here results the same thing. Honestly, I'm gonna put the same thing. The only thing I'm changing here is I'm going to use the partial function, which we named in this case add 5. Okay. Yes, this is similar. Okay. And honestly, sometimes partial might actually slow things down. Just you won't notice, right? But this improves the maintainability over your code at larger scales. Okay, so optimization is not always just about speed. Speed is great. It's about readability, maintainability, scalability, those things. On to our last one, NumPy. Yeah, most of us use this actually. If you're just starting off, or if you're an intermediate, you're probably not using this. If you start to explore data science, then you are introduced to this at some stage. Now, in this case, very simple for loop. 100,000 times, right? But this is going to be slow for larger lists, larger arrays, right? Boom. I've slowed the whole thing down. Okay. Lists are great to an extent, but really we can use NumPy array operations to vectorize these, to make these more efficient at scale, especially with larger data sets. All we have to do here is I'm going to call this readings. Let's call this an array. A list and an array, if you're working with other programming languages, it's the exact same thing. Python, it's a list, but when you start to work with NumPy, it's now called an array. I can just use here the built-in array function. It's going to do the exact same thing here, okay? And then really all we're doing is my processed data, okay, is our readings array, and we're just going to square it. Okay, now look, the examples here, I'm trying to introduce you to libraries as well. Super simple tricks. Array, maybe you've already seen it, maybe you haven't. NumPy is packed with other useful functions that speed up our workflow. Again, functools, okay, partial is great. There are other functions that help us optimize our flow. So the point of this video here, yeah, I'm showing you very quick ways you can optimize your flow, but it's to look at what Python already has built in. You don't need to look elsewhere. NumPy is not built in, okay, but collections, itertools, other things that we do, generators, comprehensions, we're overlooking so much. And those are 7 practical ways you can speed up your Python code. We have list comprehensions, generators, itertools, profiling, deque, partial, and NumPy. The biggest mistake developers make is optimizing blindly. Always benchmark before and after so you actually know what improved in your code. Which of these are you going to try and implement? Drop a comment and let me know. If this helped you, hit that subscribe button for more Python tutorials. I have them dropping all the time. Until next time, Python crew, I will see you then.